Welcome to the Sportscast, April 9th, 2019. We got a champion in college basketball. But first, if you haven't yet, please subscribe on all our channels, iTunes, YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope. And if you're in iTunes, please subscribe. Then you rate. Then you review so you can push the Sportscast to make it above the ESPN podcast, please. Anyways, last night, overtime. That's what it took for Virginia to win the national championship, the best college basketball team in the country as of right now. And to join us to talk to us about it, a person that knows about winning and championship, Justin Riley. Welcome back.
Hey, man, glad to be here after the pretty exciting game last night, man. Tell you what, I was at the edge of my seat the entire time, and I got to give these two teams props, man. Going in, to be honest with you, really wasn't drawing a whole lot of interest from me and from others, just because, neither one of these teams were the big names you're accustomed to seeing in a championship game. But my gosh, did they ever put on a show.
Virginia won 85-77. They went to overtime. Virginia, actually, Texas Tech was coming back really strong in the second half. I thought Virginia was the better team, had more depth. Texas Tech had to fight a little bit more. Culver was the star of the show, I thought. I thought he pulled some amazing moves. And even yourself, you were saying, give the ball to Culver because he's hot.
Absolutely. I mean, Culver was the centerpiece of that Texas Tech team. But to be honest with you, man, I really can't limit it to one guy, even though, he is the man. He's the guy that everybody's looking at. But you just had incredible just team ball on both sides. Culver was doing his part. He was incredible play, man. But it seems like whenever they needed a big shot, Mooney was money. It's just like whenever they need to make a run, boom, he's hitting a three. It's just amazing seeing him going on. And then Moretti was too. Great contributions from that trio. And then on the other side, for Virginia, it was a team effort there too. You had Guy and Hunter both just dominating, and it was just so amazing. It's like watching Rocky Balboa versus Rocky Balboa. Neither team had quit in them the entire time.
Brandon Francis had 17 points. David Moretti had 15. Jared Culver had 15 points, and Kyler Edwards had 12. It feels like the whole team had to go full force. For Virginia, DeAndre Hunter had 27 points. Kyle Guy had 24 points, and Ty Jerome had 16 points. Do you think Virginia was the true champion? Obviously, I believe they didn't do well early on, but they were like the big surprise. But they also beat some big teams to get here.
Well, UVA's moniker has been they play great during the regular season, but then come tournament time, they tend to flounder, and that was very, very evident last year where they lost to the number 16th ranked seed in the tournament, UMBC, and that was the first time a 16th ranked seed had beaten a number one seed and had actually advanced in the NCAA tournament. And if you followed the tournament last year, they actually did pretty well the rest of the way out. But yeah, Virginia had maybe the unfair banner of choke artists in the tournament. They would come in red hot, but just would fall somewhere and just not really materialize to be the team that you would think they would be. But man, they brought everybody back this year, and they had that humiliating loss in the back of their mind. And what a tremendous story. We didn't have a Cinderella team per se this year with the little schools making huge runs, but this to me was a Cinderella team, to go from what they did last year to the being the top of their sport. And yes, they did beat some big name teams in this tournament, and did so with authority and with confidence. And if you watched the game last night, yeah, it was close throughout the majority of the game, but you kind of felt at several points that Virginia did have the edge, and they did have control of the game, even though Texas Tech did, give them fits, and had surprising runs when you thought that maybe that it was time for Virginia to pull away.
Virginia National Championships won in overtime. Let's switch to the Alliance of American Football because they're still making a lot of news this week. A lot of signings. It started last week and it's continuing to this week. The biggest one, I thought, the surprise was Luis Perez, quarterback for the Iron, or former for the Iron, is signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, like yourself, man, I was pretty surprised about that. Going into the season, Perez probably had one of the better stories of anyone in the AAF. Certainly there was a lot of good players to follow, but he had a really intriguing one, and he really showed a lot of promise, and he drew high praise from Sean McVay, the coach for the Rams. But as the season wore on, he just really didn't show much as far as being the leader of that offense, and was very prone to making a lot of mistakes, and just really wasn't showing enough for me to feel confident in him as the guy for Birmingham. I honestly felt like Keith Price was the better quarterback, and the offense flowed a lot better with him. However, the Eagles brought him in for a tryout, and that they apparently see something that maybe we hadn't seen, and maybe that the coaches feel like there's some potential there that they can develop and work with, and perhaps lead him to do a lot more. But I mean, hats off to the guy. He's getting an opportunity where not many people would have given it, and he, along with a host of other AAF players, are signing with several teams. Matter of fact, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been the busiest out of any NFL team right now in signing former AAF players, and the majority of their acquisitions have been from the Birmingham Iron.
Yeah, because they're connected, aren't they? Like a partnership or something?
Yeah, in case anybody forgot, that's their AAF affiliate. So, I mean, they would know firsthand, but even if they didn't, Birmingham Iron on the defensive side of the ball boasted of some great players, and Pittsburgh is digging into that well, and they're benefiting pretty well from it.
Let me read a quick of the signings. Andrew Ankara went to the Redskins, Hassener to the Steelers, Tokcho to the Steelers, Green to the Panthers, Parker Collins to the Panthers, Kit O'Brien to the Panthers, Alex Barrett to the Raiders, Darren Smith to the Vikings, Duke Thomas to the Vikings, Gilbert to the Browns, Ross to the Panthers, Reeser to the Chiefs, Devontae Bosby to the Broncos. Which of these names that I called out really stood out to you?
Well, they all stand out pretty well. I mean, Ross was a stud receiver, man. If ever there was a need for a big play, the hot shots would get it from him. I feel like he's gonna stick pretty well with the Panthers, who do need some receiver help. I'm not sure if you mentioned Casey Sales from Birmingham. Defensive lineman, was just a powerhouse and a very, very good contributor on that defense, and he's with Pittsburgh as well, and he's going to provide them with some extra help for that defense, and may even earn a starting spot. One name that you didn't mention that because he literally signed very late last night was Carter Schult from the Salt Lake Stallions. If you didn't follow the league, man, you really missed out on Cena, an incredible guy at defensive end who just completely owned offenses, man. He was in the quarterback's face nonstop, led the league in sacks, quarterback pressures, and just was a terror every single snap, man. I mean, he complained quite often that for being held, which, I mean, you can't blame the offensive lineman he went up against, man. No one could stop the guy, but he signed with the Minnesota Vikings. And he just upgraded that defensive line tremendously by being there. And I think that he's going to make the most out of this opportunity. He did well previously, but since he was on that stage with the AF, we were able to really see just how good he is. So those are a couple of guys that really stood out to me. Still anxious to see where Trent Richardson is going to land. I'm kind of surprised no one's really called his number yet. But, we still got time. I mean, we've got a whole off season to make these acquisitions, but really pleased with these AAF players getting their opportunity.
Really, really glad for them. I think a good opportunity and also a proof that this should be a second division developmental league. Can you tell us a little bit of a quick recap of what happened at WrestleMania on Sunday?
Well, just from the few points that I was able to see, we had, first of all, we had a surprise appearance from none other than the immortal Hulk Hogan. Pretty incredible to see. He was able to mend the ties with the WWE that he had after a brief falling out due to a decision he made. But he is in the good graces of Vince McMahon and the WWE universe. And when he came out last night, man, I think we all reverted back to our childhood and got pretty excited. The place exploded. Pretty great to see the reception he got. Apparently all has been forgiven, which is great for him. John Cena made a surprising appearance. Came back as the rapper gimmick, which is pretty exciting to see. We have a new champion in Kofi Kingston defeating Daniel Bryan. And he's finally, after years and years of paying his dues, is getting his opportunity to be the guy for the WWE. Seth Rollins defeated the monster Brock Lesnar to the surprise of many. Great quality program. Dean Ambrose had his final match with the WWE at WrestleMania, and he has exited the company. Where he'll end up next, no one really knows. Lots of speculation out there that I'm sure everyone can follow up with online. And also, too, Ronda Rousey's final match with the WWE was Sunday night as well.
Yeah, she lost.
She did lose a triple threat match with Ric Flair's daughter, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch, with Becky Lynch being the victor in that match. Overall, WrestleMania was really good, really good quality.
I've heard good reviews about it. Really good reviews about it, actually.
Better reviews than recent, yes, for sure.
maybe like the whole fan tackling Bret Hart at the Hall of Fame event on Saturday. I think that kind of brought more attention. Well, hold on.
Definitely grabbed attention.
Which I was thinking maybe it was all planned.
No, because that guy went straight to jail, and if you see the mugshots, man, he paid dearly for that mistake. Just ridiculous decision by that dude. Don't know what he was thinking, man, and great disrespect and dishonor to a WWE legend who was being honored for his involvement with Jim the Anvil Neidhart in that famous tag team in the '80s. The Hart Foundation, they're both being inducted. So, yeah.
Anyway,
Bret Hart's okay, but the guy's not.
All that was missing was The Rock. We'll see if Gronk will appear in wrestling in a few months. Let's go for game predictions. Are you ready?
I am, and I just arrived to work, so let's get it.
Houston Rockets at the Thunder.
Houston Rockets, man. I'm a believer in the Rockets right now.
And the final random question, what is your favorite wild animal? Elephant, tiger, lion, or leopard?
I'm an Alabama fan. Elephant.
Elephant. And how can people reach you?
All right, well, get on the Twitter, man. Get on our account. Look us up at the Sportscast1. Same thing with Instagram, so you have no reason to not be involved. So, yeah, I'm there all the time. Tweet me, DM me. Would love to get some conversation started up. So I'll be looking out for you. Also, we'll be dropping that article about Derek Gore now that the NCAA tournament is over, and the focus will be solely on the NFL draft.
Well, Justin, thanks very much for coming to the Sportscast. Go to thesportscast.net for any latest news. Not scores. We won't keep scores there, but maybe in the future. And thanks for coming on. NFL draft previews coming up. Everyone's preparing for that. Everyone's putting their lists down. I got 2 lists. Anyways, Justin, thanks for coming on.
Glad to be here, man. Thank you.